My name is Juanita Hales, and I am studying Web Design and Development. My instructor is Raul Vargas. The topic I will be covering today is transparency and opacity. Light is energy carried in an electromagnetic wave emitted by vibrating electrons and atoms. We can only see light in high frequency. As light travels, it encounters three types of materials: transparent, translucent, and opaque. Transparent materials allow light to pass through them without obstructions. Air, glass, water are examples of transparent materials. Animals or insects whose vision is turned to a different frequency will see transparent items differently. Translucent materials, as this dark coated glass here, this dark blue glass, allow portions of light through them. Light bounces off of the surfaces of the translucent objects and reflects the color that the object is. In this case, it would be blue light that would go through this, as it would go white light and then blue light as it reflected through. Light will always try to find a way to penetrate through an object. Frosted glass, stained glass are examples of translucent objects. Opaque materials, though, do not let light pass through them. Light reflects off these objects since it cannot pass through. Most materials are opaque. Wood, people, computer screens, this glass, solo cup, you can't see through it. Opaque material. Transparency and opacity are very important to web design. Buttons, backgrounds, pictures can be transformed with these properties. Opacity and transparency are typically used in accompanying CSS files that actually give websites the way that they look. And I'm going to go ahead and show you an example of this on my computer screen here in a second.
On my screen here, we're going to go ahead and discuss transparency versus opacity in web design. I went ahead and built this page to actually give you another visual. So whenever we code buttons as web designers, we'll originally start with what the original button looks like, which will be, this color here. This is the original color with no transparency or opacity or anything applied to it. The next background here, this is a transparent background. As you see, the actual text is dark, but the actual background is light. And you see this is the same color, but it's with the opacity applied, and opacity makes the entire block, including the text, turn a little lighter. Why is this important? Well, whenever you hover over buttons, usually you'll get the original button, and then you'll get the transparent button whenever you hover, or a lighter button, or even darker button. It can go lighter or darker. And they usually do this with transparency or opacity. Now, if you wanted to show a button as disabled, you would make it opaque, and it'd be an opaque button. These are some of the effects here that you can get with transparency and opacity. I went ahead and built this gradient background here so we could actually see, there is actually a full box here, but what we did was we made it transparent. You can see through it, and we went ahead and made it a little more translucent up here. Also, like I said about buttons getting darker, that's right here. We'll go ahead and hover over the spectrum button. I'm going to take you to that site because this actually, it's got a lot of good things about transparency. It has a lot of good examples. The first one that immediately hits us is this little download button, and the download button is light. It looks kind of like it's glass, but then you hover over it and it gets darker. This kind of has a glass effect to it. As you see, you can see through it to see through the background. The colors will go from light to from a dark to a light for the dates and things like that. So it's kind of how we make the illusion. If you see here, these are translucent. They're transparent, but they're also translucent. Some of them are transparent, goes back to the blue. Some of them are translucent. You can kind of see some of the colors that they're going to have.
Today we've looked at transparent and translucent and opaque. We've also determined the differences and the differences for web developers. I appreciate your time and thank you for watching.